Përshëndetje and welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. Tomorrow is International Women's Day, so I thought we should be talking about this today in the studio. It is a very important day for women all around the world, a day where we celebrate equality and our accomplishments, as well as raising awareness about the things that still need to be changed or improved. I'm joined in the studio today by two very special guests. First, we have Gentiana Susaj. She's a human rights lawyer, a women's rights activist, a black belt in Aikido, very importantly, and the founder of ESD Albania, which teaches women and girls how to defend and to protect themselves. I also have another friend, Almira Xhembulla, who is the former Deputy Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament, and she is a women's rights activist and the founder of BIAT, which is a foundation that works to empower and protect women and girls in Dibra, where you are from. It's a great honor to have you both in the studio today. Welcome to Inside Albania.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So my first question, as I said in the introduction, Women's Day is a day about economic, cultural, social empowerment of women. But what does it mean to you specifically?
The 8th of March, it's an important day to remember all the progress that women have accomplished so far, and that is thanks to everyone that had participated in it, men, women, all genders. But it's also a reminder for all the inequalities that still exist and we still need to fight for. So it's a good moment to get together again, celebrate, and as well mobilize ourselves in order to continue working, continue fighting for more equality between all genders.
And what does it mean to you?
Yeah, as Gentiana said, that the 8th of March is a reflection day in which we have to be grateful and thankful for all the work that has been done so far. But it is also an important day to be very, let's say, aware that this is a work in progress,
yes,
that we have still a lot to do. And when it comes to equality and gender issues and women in power, we have to be very careful, because always we can risk backslides or backflash of the process that has been made so far. So I'm very happy to be here today with you, Alice, and I would like to thank you and to congratulate you for you personally are doing to bring into the attention of media the gender issues, the women in power issues, the mentality, and all the challenges that women still have in Albania in order to be felt equal, to have access in justice, to have access in market labor, and to be seen as equal as men in our society.
This is very important what you said, to be seen as equal to men, because on paper, you know, women in Albania can vote, they can own property, they can inherit, everything is equal on paper, but I think the reality is somewhat different. And I want to preempt some of the comments that always come up when I'm talking about women's rights. Oh, but men and women are equal. What more do you want? What are you not getting that you should? You know, what do you see as like the challenges that we need to overcome? How are we not equal to men in 2026? Almira, I'll start with you.
In fact, as you mentioned, there is a paradox also here in Albania, because when it comes, for example, to education, women are far more educated than men when it comes to tertiary education, or when it comes to their effort and commitment to also to the job, to the work environment, to the sectors like tourism, like rural development, like agriculture. But in the same time, there is still a gender pay gap, which is very, let's say, sensitive element. There are a lot of, let's say, not seen exactly as how much potentials that they have. Yes. They are educated, they have a lot of skills, also on entrepreneurial skills. If we see the statistics, 20 to 30% of the small enterprises are owned by women. But when it comes to own big, let's say, businesses or has a lot of capitals and properties, they still lag behind.
Yes.
And that is the reason why we still continue to, let's say, support and to see women empowerment as a necessity, because when it comes to development and when it comes to sustainable development, this has to be really addressed. It's not about the laws. We have done tremendous steps when it comes to legislation. People are more and more aware of these kind of things, but it's not always these kind of problems can be solved only by laws or by regulations or by talking about it. We should take actions.
Yes.
And when it comes to actions, we should be always very carefully, because women are not only, let's say, a very active part of society, but they work more in-house, they take care for their children, they are more involved in education, but also in environment, because they do a lot also to protect, to talk about these kind of things. But when it comes to the payment, they lag behind.
Yes.
There is a 6% to 30% of the gender pay gap in Albania based on statistics that are provided by Stat. But also it is a challenge in Albania because women are, let's say, not very happy in the way how they live their lives. And considering here, I want to bring into attention, that's why we would like, to seek and to work to reduce gender violence, all the types of violence against women,
Yes.
because when they wake up, they go outside, in every action, they can be part of, they can
Experience violence.
Experience
Yeah.
violence. And for sure, you also, Alice, you have been very active on bringing the figures and talking about not only domestic violence, but also digital violence.
Yes.
And I would like here to bring also another element, which is very important, that it's not really talked about it, which is also sex harassment in the work environment. So there are a lot of types of violence that women felt that are not really spoken about.
Yes. Or considered as violence. Yeah.
Yes, right.
I face digital violence every day. Every day I will get at least one hateful, aggressive or violent message from someone. And it's every day. And you kind of normalize it, you don't think of it as being that, but actually it's terrible. Like it shouldn't be happening. But I wanted to sum up what you said about women and the work that they do. The women in Albania are more educated. They work longer hours. They are basically running the country. And I don't mean in terms of position, but they're the ones doing the most of the work and also taking care of the men, the children, the family members, not getting paid for that, not getting recognized for that. They are doing pretty much all of the work that keeps this country going behind the scenes, but are not getting recognized for it. Gentiana.
Yes, I would like to add from what is mentioned already that in the work we do with the schools, we have the Empowerment Self-Defense program in about 80 schools from north to south in Albania. And we have seen from very close what the real situation is. And no matter how good students the girls are, there is always this doubt from outside when it comes to the capability and the capacity and the possibilities they have to make progress in their lives. And also there is self-doubt. Self-doubt because how the culture is. Our culture is really violent when it comes to gender, when it comes to equality. No matter what the legal framework is, there is still so much work to do to change the mindset and to change the cultural components that are, at the end of the day, barriers for women to be fully educated, but also to be able to engage in a specific profession that they really want and not something that the family wants or something that works for girls, because that's like what they are being asked to do, So what we've seen, it's also, I want to add the issue of sexism, ageism. It's also a very serious issue that's happening. It's connected to hate speech. It's connected to lack of the payment equality. So this gap that you were mentioning, it's really serious about. And although there are institutions where women are in a decision-taking position, again, it comes with this doubt attached, which is totally unfair. And
she's just there because she can't say it on TV. But...
Yes, and that goes with this doubt. I'm just packing it all in one word, but there are so many nuances to it. We've been working, bringing empowerment self-defense also to women in the workplace, for safety in the workplace. And we've heard firsthand the discrimination they have to face every single day, the gender-based violence they have to face every single day, just because they're girls or just because they're women. That's it. And that's one barrier that is inhibiting them from growing professionally, from being able to organize their lives, from being able to move city, to move country, or whatever it is. And that is why there is still so much work to do. There is so much to say, not only on the 8th of March, but on every single day of the year. Yeah. We all need to be active every single day, and we need to work a lot when it comes to empathy and support, because this is what we need for each other, not only among women, but whole society has to be aware, because these are things that are damaging the day-to-day life of our people in Albania in general, you know?
Because, I mean, if I had 100 lek for every time a guy told me, no, we Albanians, we prize our women, we put them first. The Kanun taught us to respect them, you know. We see that we treat them like queens. We don't need your Western feminist agenda. I would be very rich if I had 100 lek for every time I'd heard something like that. While they may prize their women on the surface, the fact that they're calling them their women speaks volumes. You know, they see women as a possession, something which is to be possessed, and then as a child to be passed on, and
or a trophy,
a burden. You know.
Yeah, and when it comes to the Kanun, that many wrongly quote the Kanun for when it comes to women, but it's also in the Kanun that women are a sack to endure.
Yes.
And that says it all. Like what? So we really have to unroot those beliefs and unroot those cultural norms that are not valid, that are totally wrong, that are very harmful. And we have to participate. Everyone has to participate in this process.
Yeah, and when it comes to participation, because, you know, always we are facing these kind of discussions that what do you like more?
What do
you want more?
Exactly.
Because you are everywhere. Women are, I mean, part of decision.
We let you out of the house now.
And, you know, but what I have noticed myself from my experience, not only working in politics, but for 16, 17 years, I have worked in civil society sector as a gender advisor. I have seen that participation and representation, it's not always equal with power.
No, of course.
It's a very good step. It's a big progress.
Yes.
But to come to the real power and to the equal power, it's a huge work to be done. And we are on the middle of that road, to be honest. Because we are now talking about men that have the idea that women and girls and daughters are kind of their property. They consider them as property. I have noticed and I have seen myself, even for women that are part of decision-making or they are part of, let's say, politics or this kind of institutional bodies, they consider these seats also as their own. For example, it's ours. If a woman is an MP, her husband, not always, but her family, her husband and everybody, her brother says that it's our, let's say, place, it's our power that we have.
Because she's just an extension of him.
Yes. You know, and there are some cases when not every single seat in the parliament or in the local government or commune council are real seats for the women, because sometimes behind them are strong men. Not, I mean, I don't want to create a kind of misunderstanding here, but I have to be clear, and we have to say some things that already exist in our society, and to be also sincere with ourselves, because only through that way we can really speak about and in a way mitigate these kind of problems. But you know, we talked already, diploma does not mean more incomes. Representation and participation does not mean power. So in order to change these things, and in order to really have an impact of equality, we have to be careful on addressing properly. Awareness is very important. But now, when all of us are supported by legal aspects, and the new laws, everybody talks, a lot of activists, we have to work really locally, to work with activists, to listen about them, to give them a place, to give them a space, to give them a mic, to talk about those kind of things. Because, you know, sometimes for example, I have started being aware of this kind of differences when I was 11 years old, when my mom gave birth to my second sister, and I saw my relatives that started crying. From that moment, Alice, I have been really caring, and I have been really keen on this issue, because I couldn't see my mother seen in a bad way only because she gave birth to 3 daughters somewhere in the north of Albania. So this is very discriminative. So that's why, since there, I have been really active on addressing these issues, and I wanted to empower others to be together with other women and men also, because there are a lot of men that are, and boys that are really keen working on these issues, to tell the society that we are equal. We can go far equally. We can do a lot. Our step, it's not because I was grown up with that word that your step is very small compared to a step of a man. You know, I have all the community sometimes I was saying to me, even when I enter in politics, they were saying, be careful, it's a very tough word. It's not...
They don't say that to the men, do they? Be careful.
It is. But in the same time, if you are there, you can really make a change. With your own model, but also with others.
I remember when I was pregnant, and I had a very high-risk pregnancy, and I was very stressed, very anxious, and also terrified, you know, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do? And people were visibly disappointed when I said I was having a girl, like taxi drivers, people in shops, coffee shop, they saw me with this huge belly. Oh, well, next time, like, no, I wanted it, and I'd only been here a year and a half at that time. I couldn't understand this mentality, you know, like a girl is a blessing. I wanted a girl, you know, and people were disappointed in my face. Is this something you encounter as well still, this
Totally.
attitude?
It still continues in many areas in Albania. I would like to tell you that when I was born, also in my family, people cried. Some people cried because I was a girl and they were expecting a boy. And I have lived the contrary of what you're saying. When I was expecting my babies, came out to be boys, but I really wanted a girl first time and second time. But people were kind of couldn't believe it when I would tell, because they were like, oh, that's great, you're having a boy. And I was kind of, no, actually, I wanted a girl. And they were kind of like, are you nuts or what? So that, unfortunately, still exists to today.
But we know, because gender selective abortion is still happening. The statistics are still screwed.
Which, for me, it's a very strong indicator that it is not only that the society in general is discriminating women and girls, but they also are very conscious that this inequality exists. So when people ask, oh, what do you want to need more? Then you say, okay, what about, did you wanted to have a daughter? And there, kind of like, they don't want daughters also because it's so tough to be a woman in Albania. And it's so hard because there is no equality. And there is always this risk of being a victim of violence, being harassed in different ways, in different places. And that's also the worry that comes behind as a parent or as a family member, which kind of goes along with the wish to have boy, because it's assumed that boys have it easier in Albania. I am aware that boys have their own challenges, and we're not denying that. But today we're talking about women and girls, and that inequality still continues. And that is what we're looking for, is all together, to work together, to live together, to make progress together. Yes. So it's not this idea of we are taking rights or we are taking something from the man. Not at all. And this is a very wrong conception that exists still in the Albanian society. People are afraid, and they don't understand the word feminist. No. So the first thing that some very, since the influencers are very popular in these days, so they take pride by saying, I am not a feminist. But do you want women and men to be equal and have fair pay and have all that? Oh yeah, I want that.
It's become a dirty word because people don't.
Exactly. So it's the need for education. It's really strong in so many different aspects and different groups in the society, because there is lack of information or disinformation as well.
I think, when you say about harassment and the danger it poses, I think it's important to say, harassment on the street, at work, it happens everywhere. I've been harassed in every country I've lived in. It's happened to me less here. There's probably various reasons for that. But I want to talk about violence, specifically domestic violence, which covers economic violence, sexual violence, emotional violence, psychological violence, financial violence. Yes. Psychological violence, for me, I think can be more dangerous than physical violence. You can heal from a scar or a bruise, but the psychological violence doesn't go away. But what I wanted to ask was the statistics on domestic violence. It's difficult to know exactly what they are, but very reputable sources have said that at least half of Albanian women will experience at least one form of violence at least once.
Out of 3 women.
Yeah. Yes. So, no, the
one out of 3 has been a victim of violence, and 1 out of 2 will experience violence at some point in her life.
But these statistics are higher than most countries in the region and Europe as well. It puts Albania at the highest, among the highest risk in Europe. And I want to ask, why is that? Why are these statistics so high compared to other countries? What makes the society more dangerous for women here?
Well, I would say that, unfortunately, these statistics are similar to many other countries in the world. And it is based on the social norms we've been mentioning so far. The institutions are still weak. They are not capable enough to provide the protection that the survivors need. And if you don't have the trust in the institutions, then you have less people asking for the protection they need. And that would also help for the abusers to stop abusing. So there is this whole a hiding behind the word abuser. You have now the words like toxic, like inappropriate behavior, all that. But at the end of the day, the root of all these behaviors is being abusive.
Yes.
And then you ask, who is the abuser? And then how do you process it in your family, in your circle of friends, or when you need to go to some institution and address that issue as it's required by law. And so the more active we are to not tolerate these kind of behaviors and take proper action, that will help to change this culture or to change these norms or these patterns,
But also for women to know what abuse is.
Right.
You know, to know that if you say no to your husband when he wants to have sex with you and he makes you have sex, that's rape. To know that withholding money from you is financial violence.
Yeah.
To know that checking your phone and harassing you about where you're going, or when you leave the house, keep your eyes down, who are you talking to? That is also emotional violence.
Yes,
Knowing that these are forms of abuse will empower women to be able to maybe report it.
But some years ago, violence was not considered a problem at all. And starting from that point, now we are, let's say, I cannot say the word happy, but we are optimistic that the number of reporting cases is increased, because this is out of let's say, efforts that are put from the government structures, but also from activists and civil society actors. But in the other hand, as it was mentioned, some of those women that are victims of all kinds of violence do not really believe in the structures.
No.
They can have access on justice, but still they lack this kind of
trust
too. And this is a big challenge that all the structures need to be addressed so far. I have heard that the motto of this year is access to justice when it comes to violence against women and girls. But, you know, it is a very, let's say, tricky aspect when it comes to talking and addressing violence, because we need to have very well informed and organized structures. For example, I know that in some places, shelters used to be and now are not, let's say, anymore due to lack of financial sources. This is a backsliding when it comes to these kind of issues. If we want the number of cases reported to be higher, and in the sense that they
People
talk
are
about
reporting.
it, they are reporting, not because sometimes it can create misunderstanding. We need to offer them at least a 72-hour shelter, at least. Or, for example, if we consider the fact that the police station should be really careful on in the first moment, trying, you know, to
having a woman officer, for example.
Having a woman officer, but you know, it's still a lot to be done in that perspective. And I would like here to speak loudly when it comes to providing financial sources to those kind of structures. If we have shelters and we close shelters, this is this is not good. Or on the other hand, if we talk about, let's say, women that really and girls that really want, you know, to not be victim of this kind of violence, we need to support them from the beginning, in the sense that that's why we are very keen and working and putting a lot of efforts on equality. Because if they are more empowered, if they have their own money, if they have their, let's say, own independency, it will be much more easy for them. Not always, but this is a good start for them to be, let's say, out of this kind of vicious circle.
There was one comment I had, and it was like, oh, we'll end up... it was because divorce rates are going up in Albania. And I commented, like, yes, because women are slowly, gradually becoming more financially independent. And once they are financially independent, they're not going to tolerate some man who brings nothing to the table and treats them like crap, you know? I'm paraphrasing. And that did not go down well with the men of the internet, you know, but it's true. If you give women the power, they have their own home, they have their own income, they can raise their kids, they don't have to be rich, but to be able to put food on the table and have a safe place to stay.
Not to be dependent.
Yeah, divorce rates, yes, will go up. And that doesn't mean that the family is being destroyed. It means that women are just empowered not to tolerate being abused anymore, whereas before they are suffering in silence. You know, it's actually maybe better that the divorce rate is going up, better because the women are escaping these people who are violent to them, violent to their children. You know, nothing is changing. Like, it's just people are getting out of these terrible and dangerous situations. You know, that's why the rate has increased.
Yeah, and another problematic that especially in rural and remote areas still exists is the marriages in the early age. This is still, I mean,
how young?
16 years
Before
old,
18.
18 years old, before 18, you know? And what I feel bad about it is I have seen myself when I have met women that are victims of domestic violence, I have seen that they did the same with their daughter, you know? Because they wanted, they see like as an exit point for them, you know, maybe they find their own life and they go maybe
to get them out of the situation.
To get out of this, and it's also a vicious circle as well. And I have seen myself, I have met some women that did the same mistake with their daughters. And we started talking to them. Why? But because we were afraid they see everything, they feel everything, they are part of the toxic environment, and they do the same mistake. And this is, some years ago, it was less, I think, and now it's turning back this kind of, let's say, phenomenon.
Really?
Yeah, and
it's increasing
it's a pity
again. Wow.
because, you know, the diversification of economies are now putting a lot of stress on society, especially on the young girl, which now see from the social media vanish, let's say, live, a lot of things, and maybe this kind of, let's say, influence, it's not good for this kind of targets. So there are a lot of elements that
that are damaging.
That are damaging all the good work that was established so far. Because if we compare, for example, the number of women that are now in representation bodies, in decision-making bodies, in the high level of government, in the high level of parliament, we have done tremendous progress comparing also with other countries. And for this, we should be very proud because all of us has put effort, but also thankful and grateful for also the men and the leadership that has supported this kind of, let's say, thing. But in the other hand, it's something that we should be really careful, not going back, not really doing a kind of backsliding.
Yes.
Also, I have seen, for example, sometimes even activists do some flashbacks for very important progress and, let's say, elements. For example, the new law on gender equality was put a lot of effort on something, but not in all the things. And for us, I mean, we should really speak loudly because women are really facing still on 2026 equality problems, violence problems. The number are going higher. The society, it's not, let's say, sustainable when we have women not really empowered and feeling, I mean, confident on their future. And regarding this, everybody from us is responsible. And that's why we created BIAT Foundation, because we felt kind of responsibility, also love, and let's say it's a part of the role that we should, let's say, do in order to make something for our roots and for our, let's say, daughters, for our women, because it is very important that women that are already empowered, that have a specific voice and have a specific position, should also
use it to help others.
Yes, rise up other women and girls, because it is a very important element.
How many women has BIAT worked with in the Dnipro region since it was founded?
We have supported directly for the first year around 50 women that are part of these protection orders and that are going in these kind of challenges. But you know, Alice, I would like to say that all the women that have been part of our big activities, in a way, are part of all this movement, because they consider themselves, they are, let's say, they take information, they feel like they have a certain, let's say, important place to say, to speak about, to talk about, and
then they go and talk to their friends.
There are 500 or 600 women that have been engaged in our activities, and
that's amazing.
This is very authentic, because all of them and all of us work for the time being we were voluntary. So it's in voluntary basis, and we are, let's say, doing this kind of, let's say, initiative, which is very inspiring for that community, but not only. Because, for example, we have talked with Gentiana, and maybe it's good that we replicate this model also in other part of Albania. So, yeah, and I'm very proud for all the group that is working on this initiative.
Yes.
Because it's something very unique.
I was at your fundraising event just before Christmas, and it was amazing. I saw so many people who are in great positions, have a good job, a good business, are the top of what they do, you know, artists, singers, musicians, sports people, business people, people working in international organizations. And it's inspiring for those people to then not set an example. I don't want it to sound condescending to the women in the rural areas, but to be able to give even a tiny bit of their knowledge to them or support to them. It has a very powerful impact.
To turn on the light.
Yes, exactly.
And believe me, it's not only the women that are living in the rural area that take from these top artists and top sportists and so on. Also, these important people take so much from the community, because there is nothing more beautiful than going back to your own roots and see where you come from and feeling this joy for how far you've gone, but also that you can still support, you can still help, you can contribute for more people from your own community to go to a higher level. And that's such an amazing feeling, you know. I was also at the evening you organized, and we were all like pumped up with beautiful energy. It was
great.
Yeah.
It was really empowering.
I remember looking around, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know there was so many like amazing people from Debra. Like, I mean, not in a bad way, but I was like, holy, oh my God, you know, this is amazing.
And at the beginning, Alice, believe me, when I started talking, I'm very, let's say, happy that with all the women that I shared and all the co-founders that we started working on this idea, they were all very enthusiastic and optimistic. But when I talked this idea with some, for example, local people, local representing bodies or people that have a certain position, they were with women. I mean, you come from a very important, let's say, position. And you are still, continue working with women, and I was, and you are organizing a fund-raising event in a charity event in a rural area or outside of Tirana.
Yes,
and so some of them were really, you know, crazy. You are crazy that you are thinking, organizing that, no, as always, as I told you, we are growing up in this environment, so we know that we should, let's say,
what
continue with our instincts and what we know to do better. So it's our, let's say, responsibility. It's our, let's say, duty. Because, so that's why I'm very happy that so far we have done good.
Yeah, good. And I think it's a very good example, because we need more and more people from the community or from the business entities to collaborate and to raise funds that can benefit for the violence prevention. That is also because currently, unfortunately, many of the national and international donors that have been supporting projects on gender issues, they are all reducing their budgets. Yeah. And Albania depends a lot on international cooperation when it comes to this. And with several international entities that I've been talking to, they are just reducing and reducing. This year is worse. Next year is going to be even worse. And that has a real negative impact, because Albania still needs funding when it comes to, and that will affect the work of the NGOs, the work of the activists, but also the work of the institutions. Yes. Because the resources are not enough for all what it is to be done.
So it falls on our shoulders to do something about it. Now, I want to talk from one event to another. There's a reason I'm dressed really casually today. This is a T-shirt of Tirana Running Club, which I am a member of. And we have organised for Women's Day a fun run, She Runs. Yes. It's a 5-kilometre run. Now, I know for people who don't run, the idea of running 5 kilometers can seem quite terrifying. There was a time where I couldn't even run 500 meters, you know. So it is a fun walk. It is an idea that on Sunday at 9 o'clock at the lake park, women, men, children, family, friends, colleagues will come together and walk or run or stagger, as the case may be, in order for support of a good cause. And your organisation is supporting our idea along with the Swedish Embassy. Can you tell us a bit more? Actually, I want to ask, because people always have something to say and they say, oh, well, what's going for a run going to do to benefit women? So what is going for a run going to do to benefit women? I'm going to take this up. So
ESD Albania is a co-organizer together with JDK Harmony. We are the group of organizers, and we are thrilled with the good answers we've had, because it's the first time we're organizing something like this in Tirana. And usually the 8th of March in Albania, for those that don't know, has been celebrated as Mother's Day, which officially in Albania is totally another day. It's not the 8th of March.
Yes.
And it's usually women being given flowers, going for a lunch or for a coffee, having freedom that day to go out with their friends.
Not having to clean and cook.
Not having to clean and cook. Or the husband will stay with the kids that day because it's a special day, and that's a really wonderful thing they're doing that day. So this call that we have launched, which is in itself a manifestation and a celebration of the resilience of women that have to run so much in their lives. Like run from violence, run from discrimination, run from fear, run from threats, from all that. And we want them to run from all these things and go towards hope, towards freedom, towards realization, towards their dreams. And that is the symbolic call that we have for this event. That's why we chose to be a run. And actually, it connects also with ESD method, because empowerment self-defense, one of the principles is a principle run, which is how to de-escalate and how to take distance from the abuser, how you can leave a situation of danger and abuse for you and run to safety. So this is like a very beautiful combination of safety, well-being, how important it is to take care of our health, to take care of our fulfillment as a person, as a woman. And if we do that, the whole community benefits, the whole society benefits. So not only women, all men and women and every gender is invited to join us on the 8th of March. We are going to have it by the lake, which is the place where every runner wants to run in Tirana. And we will have, we are expecting around 300 participants and also other people that will join to be together.
And we will be there volunteering. My daughter is volunteering with the organization as well. There's another point I'd like to add as well. I remember being told, Alice, you can't run in public. You should only run, you know, at the gym or at the lake. You know, it's not good for a woman to run in the street. I've had, in the summer where I've worn like a short top for running, I've had women going at me in the lake while their husband is there in short shorts, no top, doing lunges, you know, like they disapprove of the way that I'm dressed when it's hot, you know. There is this thing about women exercising in public. It's still here that it's not the done thing. You know, you should not do it. So it is the done thing. You should run in the street. You should run in the park. Wear a short top if you want to. Wear hot pants if you want to. But just move. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing.
This is the breaking stereotypes. It's not easy, but it's a very good.
Run like a girl, I say.
Exactly. And it's a very good opportunity to occupy public space and show up for ourselves and raise more awareness for what also needs to be done, like all the things we've been talking about. So this is in Tirana. We are also glad, like Biat wants to be, more people want to repeat it in their own cities in Albania. Also the Ayo of Rapon, or She Runs, we've already receiving ideas to replicate it, like from the club, running club in Kukas and so on. So that's very nice to share these and to be a good example so that best practices continue and more people get engaged.
And also running. I mean, you know, people watching, come and join us. You don't have to run super fast around the
can
lake.
walk, you
Come
can-
for a walk, run a bit, jog a bit, do what you want. But by moving your body and being around other people in spring, it's something beautiful. It's something nice, better than sitting at home or sitting doing this on your phone. You don't move your body, be healthy. This is how I started running. I had problems with my blood pressure, my tension. I was overweight, and the doctor said, I can give you medicine, but you'll be on it for the rest of your life unless you change your habits. He said, walk 5 kilometers a day. And I started doing it, and it was boring. So I started trying to run. And the first 100 meters, I was like dying. But then the next day, I ran 150 meters, and then 500 meters. And, you know, and I slowly worked up to doing half marathons, you know, and it's good for your mind. It's good for your body. It's good for your soul. You make friends as well. How can people sign up?
People can sign up very easily. It takes maybe 10 seconds in total, and it is on the website of Tirana Running Club. And it's free. We wanted this to be accessible for every single person to just join. And that's it, very simple.
And you get a T-shirt as well.
You get a T-shirt. We gather at 8:30 at Velezerit Frashëri, and we will start the running at 9:00. And hopefully many will join.
And children can come as well. There's no age limit. Everyone's welcome.
No discrimination. All genders, all ages are invited to be there.
Great. So sign up. Almira, Gentiana, thank you very much for coming today. And I wish you both a very happy Women's Day. And thank you as well for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
That's all for this week. You can watch Inside Albania every Saturday on Euronews Albania, on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, or across all podcasting platforms. Until next week, Mirapafshim.